Welcome to a new series called The Digital DM. This is where I'm going to provide tips and tricks for adding technology in as one of the tools to use as a dungeon master or game master. Now, I do encourage those of you that do not use tech at the table to still watch this series because I think you're going to be able to take a lot of these tips, a lot of the advice, and use it in some other manner, whether it's with notebooks, 3x5 cards. I think this stuff is really still going to help you simplify what you're doing, and so I would encourage you to watch that. For the rest of you who do like to use tech at the table, you're really going to get a lot out of this series, and you may be able to take some of these and morph it into your own thing that's even better than what I present. So we'll start off with episode 1, which is running monsters. The question that's asked a lot to me as well as other people in the community is, how do you prepare monster stat blocks? How do you use them at the table while you're trying to run, this deep narrative combat, trying to make it interesting? Always referencing back to your book, flipping between pages. If you have two monsters, they're in the same fight but at different spots in the manual. How do you do it? What's a good way? Because we just don't seem to have a really efficient way. So obviously the monster manual is a key component of this. It's got all the information you need to run these monsters. They're highly customizable, very easy to change, but we just don't have that good way to do it. So number one, you could open the monster manual, you could tag the different pages, and you could just flip between while you're behind the screen. Again, as I mentioned, this is not very efficient. You could photocopy the monster manual. That way you have a single page for each monster. You don't have to worry about the big book. You can just flip between those pages, or you could cut them out, maybe tape them on the inside of the DM screen, things like that, which makes it more efficient, but still not great. You could copy them to a notebook, to 3x5 cards, just the stuff you need. Maybe you copy it word for word. Again, not the best method. Now, I separate the bottom one, take a picture with your iPad, because that is a digital or a tech way to do it. I've done that in the past, and it's been very good. I can just scroll through pictures on my iPad because I have a picture of each monster stat block that I anticipate I'll need to use that night. But still, it leaves us with a problem. It leaves us with all this stuff we have to look through as we're trying to run an exciting combat encounter. We have to sift through this information to find what we need. Now, here presented is the Bugbear. Again, copyright, Wizards of the Coast, but they've made it available for free online through the DM supplement of the 5e basic rules. But look at all that stuff we've got to sift through. It looks great, but we've got name, armor class, equipment, ability scores, action, traits, senses, skills, languages, hit points, size, alignment, challenge. That's not even everything. And when we're running, a fast-paced, exciting combat encounter, we don't need all of that. And we certainly don't need the time it takes to sift through that to find the stuff that we do need. So I'm going to show you the method that I use to extract the stuff that I need to run a quick, exciting combat encounter, but still have kind of a stat block to use. Digital monsters. And no, we're not talking about Digimon here. On the left, you see the stat block as it appears in a monster manual. On the right, you see my kind of customized digital DM version of a monster stat block. You could do this with a Word document. You could do it with Google Docs, an Excel spreadsheet. You could do it on Google Slides. That's what I'm using here, and I like it the best because you can kind of lay out like a storyboard type thing. But as you see first, I've taken the name of the monster. You could actually put a person's name or an NPC's name here if they actually had one. Next to that, I chose to use the hit points and the armor class. Those things are going to be up top. Next up, the ability scores. I don't need their actual scores, and I don't think you do either during an actual fight. However, you may need their modifiers, so I do put those underneath for each of them. Next up, I choose their attacks. Morningstar, which is a +4 to hit. I put a little bracket or separator, and then I put the damage. Simple as that. Same thing for the javelin. I put little notes in parentheses with the javelin if it's ranged. But again, you're creating this, so you know what you're putting. I don't need to put down that he's got a ranged attack. I know you can throw a javelin, so I'll just put it in parentheses. Next up, at the bottom, I do include the extra things I think I might need. So surprise, first round, if the Bugbear hits, they get to add 2d6 to the attack. They also have a +6 to stealth. Now, there's a lot of things I didn't include. The Bugbear also has a +2 to survival. I am never, ever going to use that piece of information. I don't know what I would use it for. So why write it down? It's just more stuff to take up room on the page. Other things, challenge rating, languages. I know that a Bugbear speaks Goblin and Common, so I don't need to write that down. I know that off the top of my head. If it's a monster you struggle with, feel free to write it down. Challenge rating, again, that's something that you probably are going to use more in preparation than an actual combat encounter, so no need to write that down. Now, the big thing on the right, you're going to notice that 3 things, almost 4 things, are a different color. Hit points, armor class, and one of the attacks. I do this because it catches my eye's attention much quicker. That's the information that I'm going to need the most often during a combat encounter, and so as soon as I look at my stat block, I'm drawn right to it. I can roll a d20 for an attack with the Morning Star, and I know it's a +4 to hit. I know exactly what damage is right away. Same thing with hit points, armor class. Highlight the stuff you know you're going to use the most. Don't worry, the other stuff is still there. You just refer to it if you need it. So again, this is my method. You may have other things that you like to highlight more. You may have other ways to put down information. Maybe you don't want the ability scores. That's fine. Use as little information as possible here. That's going to give you more time and more energy during a combat encounter to focus on the story, the narrative, the pacing, the excitement. It's going to cut out basically all the crap. Now, if you're going digital with this, again, options are endless. You could put a picture next to this stat block in a Word document or on Google Slides. You could put any type of other flavor information. Maybe you can type up at the bottom a small sentence in italics of what you're going to say when they first see this monster. You can do so many things with it. Just remember, keep it simple. That way when you run the actual combat encounter, the stuff you need is there, the stuff you don't is not. I want to thank you for watching the first installment in the Digital DM. Please take this, use it, make it your own. Show me what you come up with. Post down in the comments below. Let me know on Facebook, just PhD20 on Facebook. I want to see what you come up with this. But again, thank you for watching. Keep rolling and have fun.